A young Amish woman stands alone in a simple farmhouse kitchen. It's 4:30 in the morning, still dark outside. She's already been awake for an hour, kneading bread by the light of a single kerosene lamp. Her children will wake soon. Her husband will need breakfast before heading to the fields. And later today, there's laundry to hang, garden to tend, and a quilting frolic with the women from church. She'll work until her body aches, and she'll do it all again tomorrow. This is her life. And in her world, this is strength. Welcome back to the Amish Files. I'm your host, and tonight we open case file number 3, Amish Women, Lives of Silence and Strength. If you've ever seen an Amish woman in a photograph, you've probably noticed the same things. The plain dresses in shades of blue or lavender. The hair pulled back tight. The prayer covering, or cap, worn as a symbol of submission to God. You might have assumed she's quiet, submissive, maybe even oppressed. And you wouldn't be entirely wrong. But you also wouldn't be entirely right. Because the truth about Amish women is far more complicated than the stereotypes suggest. And like everything in this series, the reality might surprise you. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now. We're investigating the hidden truths about Amish communities, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Let's start with the basic framework. In Amish theology, men and women have different but complementary roles. This comes from their literal reading of Scripture, specifically passages like 1 Corinthians chapter 11, which speaks about head coverings and the order of creation. The woman's domain is the home. The man's domain is the farm and the church leadership. Women do not hold positions of authority in the church. They do not preach, they do not vote in church business meetings, and they are expected to submit to their husbands in matters of faith and family. That's the official structure. And for decades, outside observers have looked at this and seen only patriarchy and oppression. But here's what those observers miss. According to Karen Johnson Weiner, an anthropologist who has studied Amish communities for over 35 years, the picture of Amish women as silent, submissive helpmeets is inaccurate. In her book The Lives of Amish Women, published in 2020, she writes that Amish women are actually strong, involved, and deeply respected in their communities. They embrace the home as their domain, and they run it with authority and skill. The phrase keepers at home appears in Amish literature, but it's not a phrase most Amish women use to describe themselves. Instead, they see themselves as essential partners in a shared enterprise. If this kind of deep investigation matters to you, smash that like button. It tells YouTube to show this video to more people who need to hear these stories. Let me give you a concrete example of how this works. In Amish communities, when a family prepares to host church services, the work divides along gender lines. The father and sons clean the barn and rake the yard. The mother and daughters clean the house and prepare food. But here's the thing. The father expects little to no help from neighbors. The mother, on the other hand, can expect a house full of women to arrive and work together. These gatherings are called frolics, and they're central to Amish women's lives. Women come together to quilt, to can vegetables, to prepare for weddings or church services. And in those gatherings, they talk. They share wisdom. They support each other. This is where the real power of Amish women lies. Not in formal authority, but in community. One woman who understands this deeply is Kendra Cross, who was raised in Amish and Mennonite communities. In a 2025 podcast interview, she described growing up in a male-dominated culture, but she also explained something crucial. She said, and I quote, "You don't have to agree with the system, but once you understand the rules, you can learn how to play the game." Cross spoke about the quiet strength of women who've shaped communities through faith, love, and lived experience. Often, this happens in the simplest of settings, like generations of women gathered around a quilt, telling stories and singing together. Stories, she explained, are passed down instead of screens. In a culture without modern distractions, storytelling becomes the heartbeat of family and connection. Now, let's talk about something darker. Because silence isn't always strength. Sometimes, silence is imposed. In March of 2026, a documentary called Keep Quiet and Forgive premiered on PBS. It tells the story of Lizzie Hirschberger, a former Amish woman who was raped by an Amish farmer when she was a child. For 30 years, she stayed silent. The Amish community has a guiding principle of forgive and forget. Victims are pressured to forgive their abusers publicly, and police involvement is discouraged in favor of handling things internally. Sexual abuse, the documentary reveals, is widely regarded as an open secret in many Amish communities. Lizzie Hirschberger eventually broke her silence and reported her assault. And she discovered she wasn't alone. She now co-founded a survivor support group called Voices of Hope, helping other Amish women navigate trauma, family estrangement, and cultural excommunication. I want to pause here and speak directly to anyone watching who has experienced something similar. If you're carrying silence that isn't yours to carry, there is help. There are people who will believe you. You are not alone. Here's my honest opinion on this. The Amish commitment to forgiveness is beautiful in theory. But when it's used to protect abusers and silence victims, it becomes something else entirely. It becomes a tool of control. And the women who break that silence, women like Lizzie Hirschberger, show a different kind of strength. Not the quiet strength of endurance, but the courageous strength of speaking truth. Let me share another story of strength, this one about leaving. Lizzie Enns grew up in Holmes County, Ohio, in the Schwarzentruber Amish community, the most conservative sect. She was one of 18 children. There was no electricity, no plumbing, no toilet paper. They used cut-up newspaper instead. She was allowed one bath per week, in a plastic tub. She spoke Pennsylvania Dutch at home, learned English as a second language, and German as a third to read the Bible. At 19, she climbed out her bedroom window, jumped off the roof, and ran away with a boyfriend who was waiting in a car. When she left, the church shunned her. Her family cut her off. She hasn't spoken to some of her siblings in over 10 years. But here's what Lizzie says now. She says, and I quote, "I have the utmost appreciation and respect for all the things my culture taught me. As with any culture or closed-off community, there's really good things and bad things as well. I choose to focus on the good more than the bad. That, to me, is remarkable." She lost her family, her community, everything she knew. And she still chooses gratitude. Not all Amish women leave, of course. Most stay. And their lives are changing, even within the boundaries of tradition. Researcher Frenhandra conducted fieldwork in Ohio and Pennsylvania, living with Amish families to understand how women's lives have evolved. She found significant changes in homes, gardens, technology use, travel, and vacation habits. Some Amish women now run their own businesses, selling quilts, baked goods, or handmade furniture to English customers. In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, Old Order women have become entrepreneurs in the tourist marketplace. They navigate the modern world daily, serving customers who look nothing like them, while returning each night to homes without electricity. That requires a kind of adaptability that most of us never have to develop. Another shift is happening in education. While Amish girls are still expected to learn traditional domestic skills, it's not unheard of for them to pursue more education than their male peers. Some attend vocational programs. Some take classes in business or accounting. They're preparing for a world where farming is no longer the only option, where their husbands might work in construction or woodworking, and where the family might need additional income from a home-based business. So let me give you my final verdict on this case file. Amish women live with constraints that most modern women would find unbearable. They cannot hold church office. They cannot divorce. They are expected to submit to their husbands. They bear an average of 7 children, often with no modern medical care, and they do it while running a household with no electricity or running water. That is real. That is hard. And we should not romanticize it. But neither should we dismiss them as mere victims. Because within those constraints, Amish women have built lives of profound meaning. They have networks of support that span generations. They have work that connects them to the land and to each other. They have quilting circles where stories are told and wisdom is passed down. They have faith that gives purpose to suffering. And increasingly, they have voices. Some speak out against abuse. Some build businesses. Some leave, and some stay, but more and more, they are choosing. Here's what I believe. The strength of Amish women isn't in their silence. It's in what they build within that silence. The families they raise. The communities they sustain. The traditions they carry forward. And for those who break the silence, whether to report abuse or to climb out a bedroom window and jump off a roof, that strength takes a different form. But it's still strength. If this case file opened your eyes to the complexity of Amish women's lives, here's what I need you to do right now. First, hit that subscribe button. We've got more investigations coming, including the truth about Amish children, what happens when someone is shunned, and the communities where tradition is colliding with the modern world. Second, smash the like button. It really does help more people find these stories. Third, leave a comment. Had you ever thought about Amish women this way before? Does anything in this video challenge what you assumed? I read comments, and your thoughts might help shape a future case file. And one more thing. If you made it this far, share this video with one person. Send it to a friend. Post it on your story. Because the more people who know these stories, the harder it becomes to keep the truth hidden. The Amish Files is an independent documentary channel created for educational purposes. Stories shared are based on research, academic studies, and personal accounts. Amish traditions vary widely between communities. Viewer discretion is advised. Case file number 3 is now closed.